Can a simple vegetable that has been used in Indian kitchens for generations really help protect your stomach and support better gut health? You may have heard people recommend Ash Gourd, also known as winter melon, for acidity, ulcers, inflammation, or digestive discomfort. Some even drink its juice every morning and describe it as a natural way to heal the gut. But is Ash Gourd juice truly a treatment? Or are we giving a healthy, traditional food more credit than the science supports? I am Dr. Rajesh Kumar. In this video, I want to separate traditional belief from what modern gastroenterology actually tells us. Stay with me because later I will explain the biggest mistake people make with Ash Gourd, confusing a nutritious food with a medical treatment. Ash Gourd, scientifically known as Benincasa hispida, belongs to the cucumber and melon family. It contains a large amount of water, is relatively low in calories, and provides naturally occurring plant compounds. Traditional systems of medicine have used different parts of this plant for digestive and other health complaints for many years. Modern research has identified several potentially useful compounds in Ash Gourd, including flavonoids, phenolic compounds, polysaccharides, and other phytochemicals. Some of these compounds have shown antioxidant and anti-inflammatory activity in laboratory and preclinical research. But this is where you need to be very clear. Finding beneficial compounds in a vegetable does not prove that drinking its juice can treat gastritis, heal a peptic ulcer, or solve persistent acidity symptoms. A healthy food can support your diet, but it cannot replace a proper diagnosis or the treatment needed for a digestive disease. This distinction becomes even more important after 60, when persistent digestive symptoms should not simply be blamed on acidity or managed for months with home remedies, especially if symptoms keep returning repeatedly. Ash Gourd can certainly be included as part of a balanced diet. The real question is whether the evidence supports calling its juice a gut healing treatment. And this is where the research becomes interesting. Scientists have tested Ash Gourd in studies looking at stomach protection and ulcer-related damage. Some results are encouraging, but there is one major limitation that many social media claims leave out. In the next part, I will show you what those studies actually found, what they did not prove, and why that difference matters before you start treating Ash Gourd juice like medicine. Now let us look at what the research actually shows. One of the most interesting areas of Ash Gourd research is its possible effect on the stomach lining. Scientists have tested fresh Ash Gourd juice as well as different extracts in laboratory animals exposed to conditions designed to produce gastric ulcers. In several experiments, Ash Gourd reduced visible ulcer damage compared with untreated animals. That sounds encouraging. But this is where you need to understand the difference between an interesting scientific finding and a proven treatment. These studies were mainly conducted in rats and mice. Researchers were not treating large groups of people with confirmed peptic ulcers and showing that Ash Gourd juice healed those ulcers. Animal studies are useful because they help scientists identify possible biological effects and understand how a food or plant compound could work. But they are an early stage of evidence. They are not final proof that the same treatment will work in human beings. So why did Ash Gourd appear to protect the stomach in these experiments? Your stomach is constantly exposed to acid, digestive enzymes, food, medicines, and other substances that can irritate its surface. Yet the stomach normally protects itself through a specialized lining called the gastric mucosa. Think of this mucosa as a protective barrier between the stomach wall and the harsh environment inside the stomach. When this defense becomes weaker, the stomach lining becomes more vulnerable to injury. Research on Ash Gourd has suggested several possible protective mechanisms. Some studies have found antioxidant activity. Antioxidants help control oxidative stress, a form of cellular damage that increases during inflammation and tissue injury. Researchers have also proposed possible effects on the protective mechanisms of the gastric lining, including gastric microcirculation, although these mechanisms are not yet firmly established. In one animal study involving indomethacin-induced gastric ulcers, an Ash Gourd fruit extract reduced ulcer damage and produced changes in markers of oxidative stress. Other animal experiments have also reported gastroprotective effects in different models of experimentally induced stomach injury. But remember the most important point. Even when fresh Ash Gourd juice has been studied, it was tested in animals under controlled experimental conditions. Other studies used concentrated extracts. These findings cannot simply be applied to a glass of Ash Gourd juice prepared at home. The dose can be different, the concentration of active compounds can be different, and the way a human digestive system responds can also be different. This is where social media often creates confusion. A promising laboratory finding is quickly turned into a statement such as, Ash Gourd heals ulcers. The evidence does not support that conclusion. At present, we do not have strong human clinical evidence showing that Ash Gourd juice is a proven treatment for peptic ulcers, chronic gastritis, or persistent acidity. So the research is interesting and deserves further study. But Ash Gourd juice should still be viewed as a food, not as medicine. And there is another important point most people miss. If your goal is long-term gut health, drinking the juice may not even be the best way to use this vegetable. That is what we need to discuss next. That brings us to an important question. If Ash Gourd is not a proven treatment for ulcers or chronic acidity, where does it actually fit into gut health? To understand that, remember that your intestine is not simply a tube that digests food. It is also home to a complex community of microorganisms known as the gut microbiome. These microorganisms interact with the food you eat every day, which means your overall dietary pattern plays an important role in supporting a healthy gut environment. This is where fiber becomes important. Certain types of dietary fiber and resistant carbohydrates escape digestion in the small intestine and reach the colon. There, gut bacteria ferment them and produce substances called short-chain fatty acids, including acetate, propionate, and butyrate. These compounds take part in several normal functions within the colon and are one reason gastroenterologists encourage people to eat enough fiber from a variety of plant foods. But here is the important point. No single vegetable can build a healthy microbiome on its own. Your gut benefits from variety. Vegetables, fruits, whole grains, dals, beans, chickpeas, nuts, seeds, and other fiber-rich foods. Different foods provide different types of fiber and plant compounds. That overall pattern matters far more than depending on one so-called superfood every morning. If you value clear, science-based advice that helps you make better decisions about your digestive health, subscribe to the channel. My aim is to help you understand what genuinely matters without turning ordinary healthy foods into miracle treatments. Now let us come back to Ash Gourd. Eating Ash Gourd as part of a balanced meal and drinking strained Ash Gourd juice are not nutritionally identical. When the vegetable is juiced and much of the pulp is discarded, some of the fiber is also removed. If your main goal is long-term digestive health, eating the whole edible portion as part of your normal diet generally makes more nutritional sense than treating a glass of juice like special medicine. That does not mean Ash Gourd juice is automatically bad. If you enjoy it and it suits you, it can fit into a healthy diet. The mistake is expecting one drink to clean your intestine, transform your gut microbiome, or cancel the effects of an otherwise poor diet. And that brings us to the popular idea of detox. Your body already has systems for processing and eliminating waste. Your liver processes many substances, your kidneys filter the blood and remove wastes and extra fluid, and your digestive system eliminates material your body does not need. You do not need one special morning drink to make these systems work. So use Ash Gourd for what it is. A traditional, nutritious food that can fit into a balanced diet. Do not turn it into something science has not proven it to be. And this becomes even more important if you have persistent acidity, repeated vomiting, an ulcer, unexplained weight loss, or another ongoing digestive problem. In the next part, I will explain why relying on Ash Gourd juice alone can delay the diagnosis and treatment you actually need. Now we come to the part that matters most if you are using Ash Gourd juice because you have persistent acidity, gastritis, or a diagnosed ulcer. A healthy food can support your diet, but once digestive symptoms keep returning, the first question should not be, which juice should I drink? It should be what is actually causing this problem. This is especially important after 60, when recurring symptoms should not simply be dismissed as ordinary acidity. Take peptic ulcers as an example. Two common causes are infection with Helicobacter pylori or H. pylori and non-steroidal anti-inflammatory medicines such as ibuprofen, naproxen, and aspirin. If H. pylori is causing your ulcer, Ash Gourd juice will not eradicate that infection. You need proper testing and eradication treatment. If a medicine is contributing to the ulcer, that also needs to be recognized and managed correctly. This is why I do not want you to replace prescribed treatment with a home remedy simply because it is natural. Natural does not automatically mean effective treatment. You can include Ash Gourd in a balanced diet, but do not stop acid-suppressing medicines, antibiotics, or other prescribed treatment because someone online says Ash Gourd can heal the stomach naturally. And if you are treated for H. pylori, there is one more important step. After treatment, you should have a test of cure to confirm that the infection has been eradicated. This is generally done at least 4 weeks later using a urea breath test, stool antigen test, or sometimes a biopsy-based test. For accurate results, PPIs are usually stopped for 2 weeks, while antibiotics and bismuth are held for 4 weeks under medical guidance. Feeling better does not always mean the bacteria are gone. If this distinction is clear, comment Ash Gourd below. This shows you understand the difference between a healthy food and a substitute for treatment. Now let us talk about symptoms you should not ignore. If acidity or upper abdominal discomfort keeps returning, get the cause checked instead of repeatedly covering the symptoms with juice, antacids, or home remedies. Recurrent vomiting, difficulty swallowing, unexplained weight loss, or signs of anemia should be properly investigated. And if you develop black or tarry stools, vomit blood, or experience sudden severe abdominal pain that does not settle, seek medical help immediately. This does not mean every episode of heartburn or indigestion is dangerous. Most digestive symptoms have less serious explanations. The point is simple. Persistent or concerning symptoms deserve a diagnosis. That is the right balance. Do not panic, but do not delay. The biggest mistake with Ash Gourd is not drinking it. The biggest mistake is giving it a job it cannot do. Food supports health. Treatment addresses disease. So if Ash Gourd suits you, enjoy it sensibly. But if you have a confirmed ulcer, H. pylori infection, persistent reflux, or another gastrointestinal condition, follow the treatment that addresses the cause. In the final part, I will bring everything together into a practical plan for using Ash Gourd sensibly. Let us bring everything together into one simple message. Ash Gourd is a traditional vegetable with nutrients and plant compounds. Research has shown possible gastroprotective effects in animal studies, but that is not the same as proving that Ash Gourd juice can treat gastritis, heal peptic ulcers, or resolve persistent acidity symptoms in people. So how should you use it? First, think of Ash Gourd as food, not medicine. If you enjoy it, include it in your meals as part of a balanced diet. If your main goal is digestive health, eating the whole edible portion has an advantage because it retains fiber that can be reduced when the vegetable is juiced and the pulp is discarded. Second, do not become obsessed with special timing. You do not need to drink Ash Gourd juice on an empty stomach for gut function. There is no established clinical evidence that drinking Ash Gourd juice on an empty stomach gives it a therapeutic effect. Third, look at your dietary pattern. Your gut benefits far more from vegetables, fruits, whole grains, dals, beans, nuts, and seeds than from depending on one miracle drink. The goal is variety, enough fiber, balanced meals, and habits you can maintain. And fourth, never allow a home remedy to delay a diagnosis. If you have persistent acidity, recurrent vomiting, difficulty swallowing, unexplained weight loss, signs of anemia, or symptoms that keep returning, get the cause checked. If you have been diagnosed with H. pylori, a peptic ulcer, reflux, disease, or another gastrointestinal condition, follow the treatment that addresses the cause. This is the balance I want you to remember. You do not need to reject traditional foods simply because they are traditional. And you should not believe that every traditional food is a proven treatment simply because it is natural. Ash gourd can be a good addition to a healthy diet. What it should not become is a substitute for proper medical care. After 60, protecting your digestive health does not require extreme detox routines or miracle drinks. It requires sensible food choices, attention to symptoms, and the right treatment when disease is present. If this video helped you understand Ash gourd, give this video a like and share it with a family member or friend who uses ash gourd juice for acidity or stomach problems, because they should understand the difference between supporting health and treating disease.